Hello YouTube, Marauders here, and today we have the Acer 8W. Now this is Acer's entry into the ultra cheap Windows tablet arena. So let's open it up and see what's inside this small little box. So other than the manuals, these are the things inside the box. Now a very interesting thing here is that if you've watched my other videos, for the first time Acer has chosen not to give you a USB on-the-go cable. So if you want to, since like any other tablet, it doesn't have a full-size USB port. If you want to use full-size USB devices with the Acer 8W, you need to get a USB on-the-go cable, which, as long as you don't buy it from Acer, I guess it's gonna just cost, I don't know, a few bucks. It's very cheap. Just don't buy it from Acer. Now we have your wall wart. This is 5V 2 amps, so it's your typical high current USB charger. Your normal USB cable. And that's it. Let's take a look at the device up close and see. So when you pick up the 8W, it feels substantial, it feels hefty, it doesn't feel like a cheap toy or something. Of course, some will just complain, might actually start complaining that it feels heavy or something, but generally okay. Then we have so no free screen protector here, unlike the Joi8. The shell is plastic, it's not metal. It has a nice rich feeling. There's a little pattern here on the back of the case. It gives it a nice textured feel. Unfortunately, Acer, no, you're still not beating the Venue 8 Pro in terms of handling. I don't feel like fondling you that much. Okay, then if we just look at an interesting thing I like to point out is how the front body meets the screen meets the body. I think it's actually sunken in here. Not really sure what happened if we dropped it. Okay, now if we look at it's a very starkly designed, very minimalist design tablet. So you have your volume down and up buttons, and you have your power button, and then over here you have your microphone, your headphone, and your USB port, and your micro SD slot. Again, because this is Windows, this will support SDXC cards. And then of course you have your camera, and unfortunately, for some of you who might want that, there is no HDMI port on this thing. There's also there's only one port for charging this tablet, so you can't use it to play games and charge it at the same time. So unfortunately, you don't have that. Now, for those of you who are familiar with this, you might have noticed that there is no Windows button on this tablet. Yep, there is no hardware Windows button on this tablet. And to me, I feel that that's just a very big mistake on Acer's part, because if the user accidentally gets into a desktop app that is gone full screen and you can't call up the charms bar, well, that's it. It's time to turn off the tablet and restart it already. So I feel that not having the hardware Windows button is a serious dampener to a very serious issue that might affect some users a lot. Okay, now let's turn it on and take a look at the screen inside. So this is using an IPS screen, so you have very clear view angles. So even though it's is a low cost tablet. It's still using an IPS screen, so you get very nice view angles. So it's great for sharing media and watching with people. But there is one problem here, or two actually. The first is that just like the other cheap Windows tablet I reviewed, the Joi 8, the screen actually feels like it could be brighter. When you look at it, you feel that the screen is just slightly dimmer. You just wish that it could be, you look at it and you feel that maybe you want it to be a bit more brighter, but it just isn't as bright as you like it to be. It's hard to see it through the camera. The other thing that you can't see through the camera because of the camera's white balance has fixed it is that this screen actually is actually warmer. The colors are warmer. To explain it to anyone not familiar with the concept is that you will see a slight yellow tinge on the screen. So this is just like the Dell Venue Pro 8. So, and it's quite possible that some people might be a little bit turned off by it, but some people might not care too much about it. Again, just like the Venue Pro 8, if you want to fix it, you have to go enter the graphics setting and try to tweak the color balance to get it up to whatever color temperature that you rather prefer. So it's something to take note of. Not a critical point, but something that people want to know. Now, unlike the Joi 8, the Acer 8W actually comes with 32 gigs of storage. Okay, so now there's already 10 gig left. Now on first boot, what you have is that you have about 16 gig free. And the interesting thing here is that for the Acer 8W, the Office 365 this space is already used. It's already installed on the tablet. So what you do is when you activate the free Office 365 subscription, the programs actually get installed into your user profile and they get unpacked a bit. So after that, you get about roughly 14 gigs free. So you still have quite ample space. So 10 gig is still enough for you to run light tasks or install some other programs on the main system memory. But of course, you can always just go ahead and use the SD card for storage anyway. Then, given that this is an Acer device, you have a lot of the usual bundle apps like the Acer Cloud stuff and some other document stuff. And they have McAfee bundled, so if you get rid of them, you might be able to get some space left. As to how well this thing works, because as usual, if you're not familiar with this concept, this is basically a low-end Windows tablet, which means that it is running Windows 8.1 with Bing, and it has only 1 gig of RAM. So this is basically one of those is a cheap model, but everything works pretty well if you are using it for light office processing and your web browsing and media viewing. It works fantastic. I'll put up a link to my other video where I've already demonstrated this with the Joi 8, the other 1 gig Windows tablet. And for the simple reason that the 8W has slightly more disk space, it actually works a bit better. Okay, let me just emphasize now, because as this is running Windows, obviously you can run Steam, and again, because if you're familiar with PC gaming, please don't expect everything to just work on a simple small little machine like this. There are games that work well, there are games that don't work well. Well, I always like the fact that Ikaruga works very well on these things.
And if you are wondering, yes, Dota 2 will run on this, and I actually have a better, longer demo video of Dota 2 running on 1 gig of RAM, so you can go check that out. Now, from a media viewing standpoint, just like any of the other recent Intel tablets, the watching videos is no problem at all. And again, remember, this here is a 4K video, so you can see that by running hardware acceleration, everything just works. It works pretty good. It's not perfect, but of course you're not going to be watching 4K all the time, so I'm just here to show the most extreme of everything. And of course, some people would like to know whether the tablets like these, whether they can charge from a nice little USB power pack. So let's take a quick look. You'll be happy to know that there really isn't any problems from charging on a power pack. Let me just grab it and start it up. So it's drawing 2 amps for charging, so that means that the tablet actually supports, if your power pack is able, it actually can charge quite fast from the from your power bank. As for the actual battery life of this thing, I haven't been able to test it out yet since I just got it just now. I'm going to say, given that this is a typical Atom tablet, the actual battery life is most likely, you should see about 4 to 6 hours depending on what you're doing with it. So it's pretty sufficient for depending on where you're going. And of course, if you do all the things like if you turn down the brightness and you turn off your wireless radio, you most likely get more longevity out of it. And now we arrive at the most important question. Is the Acer Iconia Tab 8W a good buy? Well, it's the price is cheap. It's in the hitting range of your usual Android tablets, and it works it's great as a media player. It works great as a web browser. It has Office running on it. You get a free 1 year's worth of Office 365. That itself brings a lot of other perks like unlimited SkyDrive storage and 60 minutes of Skype time. So those are all added benefits. Now, of course, there are some problems with the tablet, with the color temperature issue, which means you have to reset it a bit. Not having a physical Windows button might cause you some headache, but it's not enough to say that it's a showstopper. Then unlike the Joi8, which is one of the other cheap tablets that we can get here in Malaysia, well, it's Acer. The build quality is not too shabby. It looks great. At least my camera is working, and no HDMI out is definitely a minus for some people, but you have 32 gigs of storage on the 8W, so it I guess you can say it works as a decent cheap Windows tablet. So if you like the idea of being able to carry around the full Office and everything with you, then the 8W is definitely something that you can consider, since it's cheap and yet it is not, the build quality and everything doesn't feel like it's gonna come apart. So it's not too bad. I won't recommend against it. So it's definitely something that if you're looking for a Windows tablet, you can check this out and see whether it suits your needs. Okay, that's it for me today, and I'll see you around. And of course, the
like any other tablet, the 8W also has two cameras, one in front and one at the back. Let's not talk about the cameras. Yeah, let's not talk about the cameras. You use something else to take pictures. Definitely not this.